young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
Wow. It's almost as if these liberal Democrats believe that they're so elite, so high and mighty, that just everyone below them is subhuman. And yeah, that's what the Democrats think of you. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Rudowski here of wearechange.org, and there's a lot of absolutely crazy, wild news to get into today, as we have the latest developments with Joe Biden, the former president of the United States, and someone hoping to be the president who just described a worm inside of their head that ate part of their brain. Yes, we're going to be actually talking about that, as well as how the billionaire class is controlling a lot of these politicians, as the official story of what happened to the world 3+ years ago is finally unraveling for the world to see, as a lot of the really horrible, sinister stuff is finally being exposed, and it's only the tip of the iceberg to come when it comes to finding out about what actually was going on. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, all here on this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was brilliantly put together by, I don't know who. The Hodge twins tweeted it out. It looks like Tim the Tool Man was one of the people that could have been the original creators here. If you know who did this, let me know in the comment section below so we could attribute them correctly. But this, if this was the Tool Man Tim from LWC, definitely go check him out. And we, of course, will be linking his YouTube channel in the description below so you guys could find out more information about him, because this kind of meme-tastic magic absolutely deserves to be shared, highlighting a lot of the racism and bigotry, not just perfectly exemplified, but perfectly practiced by many Democratic politicians in heavy Democratic areas that literally create policies that enslave, impoverish, and decimate entire populations of people, all under the guise of allegedly helping them, which represents, I think, the perfect Democratic Party policy of a lot of promises, a lot of placating that doesn't really amount to anything, as perfectly represented by the ever so woke and diverse Biden administration that is barely holding on to any form of legitimacy. This as we keep getting closer to the election and closer to everyone questioning the health and personal well-being of the current president of the United States, as the Daily Mail has this article reading, quote, "Final proof, Biden's America is utterly adrift, ignored, and barreling towards disaster. Andrew Neil's expert analysis of an infirm, incoherent president now losing all control," as we have this latest video of the president of the United States barely making it up a flight of stairs, almost having another disaster moment like he had a few months ago, where, of course, he fell going up the stairs as he, of course, stumbled, almost had yet another embarrassing moment ahead of a campaign trip to Wisconsin, a key battleground state that will essentially be a major deciding factor in this upcoming presidential election, as, of course, his opponent is facing a lot of very serious charges, one of which was just indefinitely postponed, as the criminal trial against Donald Trump regarding his federal classified document handling case was just literally stopped in its tracks. This as more charges soon might be dropped against the former president of the United States, as a Georgia court of appeals is now reviewing Trump's bid to disqualify the district attorney in that case, who clearly is a political partisan who doesn't like Donald Trump's political viewpoints. All of this as another man running for the presidency just described how a worm ate part of his brain and then died inside of his head. Yes, this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. saying this, according to the New York Times that is reporting on it, that during a deposition held in a 2012 divorce proceeding, as it looks like a lot of dirt is being pulled up on RFK Jr. in order just to attack him and to, of course, destroy his larger message, as he previously described under oath how when he got a second opinion from a doctor in New York that told him that there was a dead spot on his brain scans that a dead parasite was, quote, responsible for. As the presidential contender described how he also had short-term memory loss, longer-term memory problems that affect him from a series of problems, including this parasite, including mercury poisoning, as it's fair to say that there's a larger kind of invested interest to take down a lot of presidential hopefuls, as there's a lot of secretive wheeling and dealing, especially with the billionaire class behind the scenes that we talk about a lot extensively on LukeUnfiltered.com, as today's members video will be me talking about my interactions with Donald Trump. Yes, you heard that correctly. I met him over the weekend at Mar-a-Lago. My conversation with him and what happened behind the scenes, all available now for members of LukeUnfiltered.com, our own quasi-secret, not-so-secret members area where we do really cool stuff like nature hikes. We give out tickets, contests. We talk to each other. We have 3 major, powerful master classes that will teach you anything and everything under the sun, as we have 10 plus years of exclusive videos just available for members, as members also get the ability to be a part of our live show that we do 3 days out of the week here on youtube.com/We Are Changes. Of course, our next show will be live today, 6 p.m. Eastern, with Mark Lobliner, an awesome human being that is going to be visiting us here in studio, as the conversation definitely is going to get really interesting. You could be a part of that conversation by becoming a member of LukeUnfiltered.com, signing up to our Telegram channel, and saying that you want to call in, and you could be a part of the show. So if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Sign up right now, as we are building and expanding our studio in many different ways. We just launched SaveIrishman.com, as we're doing a little fundraiser. We also have a little Amazon wish list of stuff that we are fundraising for when it comes to growing and expanding this independent media operation. Again, check out SaveIrishman.com, as you can see the studio is being improved very significantly. You guys are a part of those improvements, and we can't thank you guys enough for being a part of this independent media organization, as of course a lot is being revealed about a specific health issue that affected everyone that we were right on the money on for many years now. As of course, we don't just mean to pat ourselves on the back, but as Vox is explaining, that the world is finally learning their lessons about the global sickness that was released on the general public 3+ years ago, as they're making the argument that people won't be taking the next sickness serious, as of course a lot of what we were told 3 years ago was absolute bunk, was absolute lies by a lot of the medical health professionals that ruled with an iron fist and censored and destroyed anyone daring to even question them, as there was very little accountability, very little transparency, very little dialogue, just authoritarian, strong-handed bullying by the establishment that absolutely abused its powers, as now one of the procedures that they forced and extorted a lot of people to take has been officially withdrawn, as there are connections to it and side effects that have hurt people. Now, this is specifically with one company that has reported, quote, rare side effects, as some people are saying, are they really that rare, as we didn't really calculate who was really hurt here, who was injured, who was really put in a way worse off situation because of this rushed experimental procedure that was pushed on everybody in a very manipulative way. As a lot of the people that were injured, a lot of people that I know that were injured and hurt by this are asking the question, well, will the people who extorted us, the people who manipulated us, the people who forced us to take this, shamed us into taking this, threatened our families, our livelihoods into taking this, will they be responsible for a lot of the pain and suffering that they have inflicted on a lot of innocent people that obeyed them? And the answer is, who knows? But as of right now, because of the Trump administration, there are a lot of legal protections afforded to not just these businesses, these politicians, these doctors, but these manufacturers of these procedures that lied and hurt an unknown number of human beings on this earth. As now classified credible documents are shown to members of our government, suggesting that the sickness actually did come from a laboratory that they were weaponizing and working on that specific sickness of, as of course it's a no-brainer. And now there's classified secret documents highlighting how a lot of our health authorities, from Peter Daszak, who allegedly is connected to the CIA, Dr. Fauci, who allegedly is connected to a lot of biowarfare programs, highlighting how they were lying through their teeth and still are. As a lot of politicians in Washington, D.C. are coming forward and saying, yeah, there's credible documents from within the government highlighting how they were lying to you, and not just lying, but enforcing their lie through mass top-down censorship of speech and news reporting that went underway that affected a lot of independent journalists that were calling it correctly from the very beginning. Now, when will these classified documents be released? I don't know, but the fact that all of this is coming during an election year is pretty interesting, as of course Chris Cuomo, former CNN news anchor and brother to Andrew Cuomo, a man who played a major part, especially when it came to taking sick patients and putting them in nursing homes, essentially giving them a larger death sentence, in my opinion, is coming out and speaking out a lot about this, as he is describing how he is a form of long sickness after taking the procedure, and now is describing how he is regularly taking doses of medications that previously you couldn't even mention on social media. I'm not even sure if I can mention it now, as the AI algorithm literally takes words and then punishes people for saying them when not even calculating the larger kind of discussion here, regardless whether it is discussed in a truthful or non-truthful way. But right now, Chris Cuomo has described how he is taking regular doses of a widely prescribed, widely used medication that was shunned by the medical industrial complex, by the politicians and media organizations all throughout the Western world that were calling it horse paste. As of course, it wasn't horse paste. It was a breakthrough kind of medication that a lot of medical professionals saw as overall pretty safe and was used throughout many years now to help people with a lot of particular ailments related to parasites, things like river blindness, that this particular horse paste made a huge significant difference. As Chris Cuomo is now saying that he was, quote, maybe wrong about this global sickness, as of course he was. He was shunning people. He was making fun of people. He was attacking people for taking the very medication that now he is taking himself, and attributing to, of course, his larger health battles that he is even describing in his own Substack. As there are a lot of very peculiar, weird things happening within Western media facilities, as there's literal globs in people's blood that a lot of doctors in America can't explain. A lot of other doctors in other parts of the world are explaining, are going through, are actually doing some research on, but we're not doing the research here. As I found Chris Cuomo's comments here on the Patrick Bet David podcast extremely interesting, as we're going to play a small clip of it to highlight the larger kind of awakening that is happening, not just with Chris Cuomo, but happening to a lot of people that know that they were extorted, know that they were lied to, know that they were screwed over by the system that has left them with irreversible problems that now they're dealing with for the rest of their lives.
I'll tell you something else that's going to get you a lot of hits. I am taking a, what do they call it? Like a regular dose, whatever. They're trying to build up of Ivermectin. Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on. You
couldn't talk about it.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about Ivermectin. The real question is why? Everyone's going to say Joe Rogan was right. No, Joe Rogan was saying, yeah, he was right. But that's not what matters. What matters is the entire clinical community knew that Ivermectin couldn't hurt you. They knew it, Patrick. I know they knew it. How do I know? Because now I'm doing nothing but talking to these clinicians who at the time were overwhelmed by and they weren't saying anything. Not that they were hiding anything, but it's cheap. It's not owned by anybody, and it's used as an antimicrobial, antiviral in all of these different ways, and has been for a long time.
For malaria for over almost 20 years.
Yeah. So, and my doctor, who is now my doctor, was using it during on her family and on patients, and it was working for them. So they were wrong to play scared on that. Didn't know that at the time. Know it now. Admit it now. Reporting on it now. Because I think that's the job. The idea that, well, you were a vaccine proponent. Why wouldn't I have been a vaccine proponent? Now there are questions. Oh, no, but I knew at the time. No, you didn't. What you knew was that there were people telling you to be resistant to what the government was telling you to do.
Well, actually, we did know, and it didn't take a genius to see the writing on the wall that they were rushing through something that wasn't really tested on a lot of people. It didn't take a genius to find out that, yeah, a lot of the kind of early studies that they did were highly manipulated, as literally there was people coming forward saying that they were scrubbed out of the studies and pushed out of them because they had, quote, adverse effects to the procedure that no one wanted to, of course, criticize in the establishment, and they were told specifically to promote. As Chris Cuomo also very interestingly detailed how politicians and people in Washington, D.C. literally called him because he called this procedure not perfect, highlighting the larger pressures that, of course, he went through and a larger kind of psychological war and subversion efforts as major media publications like Rolling Stone were literally running fake news, disinformation hit stories about this medication that now has been approved even by the World Health Organization as something to help treat people with this specific illness. CNN even attacked Joe Rogan for using this, quote, horse paste and altered their broadcast in order to make him look more sick when he described this horse paste specifically being one of the things that he used that has helped him recover from this sickness that now the World Health Organization agrees actually does help a lot of people. And again, we were telling you this from the very beginning. And if you would have just paid attention, if people were just able to have a voice, if we weren't censored, a lot of lives would have been saved. Now, I talked a lot about this specifically on lukeunfiltered.com because it was our kind of safe space to talk about this. I hinted at it here on this particular YouTube channel, but I was stifled. I was censored. I was gagged from preventing larger conversations from going ahead that could have saved a number of lives. Independent media saved a number of lives. The corporate media took those lies. The medical industrial complex, the politicians, the people in charge destroyed your lives. And this is why there's a larger attack on independent media more than ever. And there has been, and it's only going to ratchet up from now. And this is why, again, can't thank you guys enough for signing up, being a part of lukeunfiltered.com, as of course we're just beginning to find out what actually is really going on here, and we are only reaching the tip of the iceberg. The conversation continues later on today, 6 p.m. Eastern, here on this YouTube channel. Click subscribe, click the notification button, as we are going to be going live for a 2-hour podcast on youtube.com/wearechange. Another video available right now for members. Stay tuned for that. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. And truly, these people were never held responsible for what they did in the first place. And if they weren't, they're just going to do it all over again. So prepare accordingly. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange. See you in a few hours from now on this channel.